Okay, here we have this question. Determine the number of terms if you know that the first term is equal to -2, you know that the common ratio is 5, and you know that the sum of the n terms is -62. So the first thing would be to write down the formula. So let's substitute. I know that S of n is -62 is going to be equal to a1 times 1 minus r, which is 5 to the n power over 1 minus 5. And then we need to solve for n. Let's see what we can do from here. Well, a1 is -2. So I put -2 over here. -2. To simplify things a little bit, I can divide by -2 on both sides. Then I will get 31 is equal to 1 minus 5 to n power over 1 minus 5, that's be -4. And then I multiply by -4 on both sides. That will give me 124, which is equal to 1 minus 5 to the n power. I will subtract 1 from both sides. So I have -125 is equal to -5 to the n power. So this would be -5 to the third power is equal to -5 to the nth power. So obviously n is equal to 3. So that means I have 3 terms. So what does that mean? That means if I start from term 1, if I start from -2, then I add the next term of my geometric sequence, and that would be -2 times 5, that would be -10, plus the next term, so that would be -50. Remember, I am multiplying by 5 each time. When I add these 3 terms, what do I get? I get -62, which is that. Next question, find the number of terms. The sum of this series is going to be 52,428. So how many terms of this sequence are going to give me this answer? So once again, I start by writing the formula. Let's see what we have. We know a1 is -4, that's the first term, and we know r is -4 also, because to go from -4 to +16, I am multiplying by -4. For every time when you see the sign changing from negative to positive to negative to positive, so forth, this should be minus. You know that the common ratio is negative. So now let's apply the formula. We know S of n is 52428 is equal to first term, which is -4, times 1 minus -4 to the n power over 1 minus -4. Now let's see how we can simplify and divide this by -4. I can divide by -4. So this will give me -13107, which is going to be equal to 1 minus -4 to the n power divided by, that's 5. Okay, then I multiply by 5 on both sides. I get 65535 negative, of course, which is going to be equal to 1 minus -4 the n power. We are almost there. -1. What can I do next? Actually cancel these two negatives. I can tell n is going to be even, by the way, right? Because the final answer here is positive. I need to change this number into 4 to some power. So 4 to some power will give me this number. You can use the logarithm method, but since this class is not about logs, I would just suggest that you do trial and error, and you will end up realizing that 4 to the 8th power, 65536, so that means n is equal to 8. So we have 8 terms. Let's do one last example. Then I ask you, how many terms will give you the following sum? Let me write the formula again. We know that a1 is equal to -2. We know that r is equal to 4. Now I will substitute. I will get 21 is equal to, then I multiply by -3 on both sides, times -3 times -3. Subtract 1 from both sides. The negatives are on the outside, I can cancel them. So now I have 64 is equal to 4 to the n power. So my final answer is n is equal to 3 right here.